Hello, everyone. Welcome to our session, transitioning from distribution lists to groups in Outlook. We'll call them DLs for short. I'm Shilpa Ranganathan. I'm a program manager on the Office 365 groups team, and I'm going to try really hard today not to put you guys to sleep. I know it's late. Thank you for coming. I want to start us off today with a quote from one of my favorite quotes from Charles Darwin. It's about change because that's pertaining to our topic today. The quote is, "It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor it is the most intelligent that survives, but it is the one that is most adaptable to change." Change is something that instills a lot of fear in all of us. More so because fear of the unknown, I don't know what's going to happen, is it going to be more work, all that. Effectively, it lands up to a lot of resistance in a state where you go to, not for me, not now, let's move on. But there's also a very positive side to change. One that signifies evolution, getting you to a state which is where you will achieve your desired results. In today's session, we'd like to talk about this positive change, how we can take you from a distribution list to a group in Outlook, making sure that we can minimize your disruptions and maximize your end results there. I know, like I said, it's late. Thank you for coming. There are a lot of other sessions that you could choose from, but you're here, and thank you for your willingness to even have a conversation about change. So let's get started. Today, we will talk about these three topics. The first, we will talk about why you should upgrade from distribution lists to groups in Outlook. What's the benefit to you? Second, we will cover how you can upgrade, what are the tools that are available to you. More importantly, we'll look at what is the impact of upgrade, what happens to a DL after it has been upgraded. Last but not least, let's get you started. What are the things that you need to do in order to maximize your success? With that, let's get started to our first topic of why upgrade. All right, so you've heard this time and again. I'm sure you've attended the keynote and all the other sessions here. Effectively, what we're trying to say is the way we work has changed today. Today, teamwork is how work gets done. Whenever you're talking about a deliverable or a project, more than often, you're going to complete it only in a collaborative fashion. You're going to work with somebody else in order to get it done. Gone are the days where personal productivity was the only thing in life. Today, it is all about how to make the group productive, how to make that team efficient. Let me talk about a true story. I was talking to this lady. She works for a company, and her job is to create icons, the icons that we see on all the logos, etc. And she was telling me that 15 years ago, when she started her career, if she was working on a project, more typically she would be working alone. And the deliverable, as soon as there was a deliverable during the course of the process, she would have to send status updates, how the project was going through. But typically at the end of the deliverable, she had to produce an email that said, okay, done, here are the details, here's the content, go consume. Effectively, her needs are more around, if you notice, ability to easily access the set of people that she's talking to, as well as a very unidirectional communication, right? That's how things started. And for that, distribution lists work great. Today, 15 years still, they're still working great for that purpose. But she told me another thing, is like, great, so today I do that same job. but the way I do it is very different. If I have to create an icon today, I work with my research team, figuring out, what are the details, what do people like, what do people need. I work with my product teams, trying to understand what their needs are. I work with a world readiness team, making sure that the icons that I generate is globally acceptable. There is the patent team, there is the marketing team. So many people all of a sudden have entered her life. Now she has to ringmaster all these people. Another complication in life, many of these people are not even in her time zone, not even in her country. Another aspect that she's struggling with, she needs to add people who are contingent staff, vendors, come and go into the project. More importantly, what she's trying to do today is co-create the icon. She is not the only person who's generating that icon anymore. She's working with so many other people in order to generate it. And imagine what she has to struggle with when she's doing it across the country, trying to keep everybody with the same context. So for her, going from distribution, today she's evolved into a need of collaboration. The other thing that she struggles with as she goes through this project is because she's needing collaboration, the simple distribution list is not enough completely to suffice for her needs. She needs more applications to keep track of people's time, take notes, keep them up to date, etc. So she's not able to use any of her siloed experience, which was okay in the past because all she was doing was using a couple of apps, sign into one, sign into the other, that's fine. But today, if she has to sign into 4 applications, that's a waste of time, wasted context, and all of us know how quickly distracted we all are in today's age. You look at something, ooh, email, and you start doing other things there. So she's looking for integrated experiences right from her workflow, which is email. So moral of the story, we need to evolve email to meet the needs of our users. If we don't, then we have a problem. As we spoke about, human beings are very adaptive. We'll find things that work for us. We'll get a set of applications, work with it. But will that work in the long run? That's only going to create more inefficiencies for us, lack of productivity for us. And for IT administrators, it's going to create even bigger problems because your company's data is not safe anymore. People have now brought in so many other applications that you don't know what's going on in life with your data. So, where do we go from here with these problems? Our solution is simply make email better, simply make it adaptive enough to meet the collaborative needs of today's work style. That is what groups in Outlook are. I keep getting this question a lot on, before we go there, how many people know groups in Outlook or use them today? All right, great. So I won't get into the details, but quickly, just to set context for others as well. Groups in Outlook is nothing but a single identity that is an Active Directory, which represents a collection of people. And for this collection of people, what we've done is lit up some cool collaboration tools right from inside Outlook so that they can use it for their collaborative needs. Literally, that's what it is. And the reason this, so with this single identity, now what happens is we heard Satya talk about the Microsoft 365 toolkit, which gives you different applications to do different things. Now, this identity is what travels with you throughout the applications of M365, should you need it. If your users go and open up another application in that toolkit, it will recognize it. It's the same context. So it's easy to move from one context to the other throughout the toolkit. Another question that we get asked pretty often is, okay, great, fine. I understand there is a need to move on. I understand there is a need for collaboration. And I understand that we need to evolve. but why not evolve distribution lists? Why do you have to create yet another identity called groups in Outlook? Fair question. DLs were created 15, I guess 20 years ago. Back in the day, like we were talking about, we know only what we could know. The need was distribution, which is one-directional communication at that point. DLs worked great. It was awesome. But today, with the need very different, and I'm sure most of you saw the keynote as well. We're talking about artificial intelligence. We're talking about quantum physics. Oh my God, I don't know what else is going to happen. The question is, will that infrastructure of DL stand 20 more years of time? So we had the opportunity to take a step back and say, hey, we could chewing gum and duct tape this DL infrastructure that we have today, add some more things that users are asking for, and call it a day. But will it scale? Not too sure. The other aspect is we know a lot of things today that we didn't know in the past. So how could we use the learnings from history, et cetera, to build something ground up that was meant for collaboration and can stand the test of time? Importantly, gives you that platform that has the speed of innovation that you need and the quality of service. So patching things up, moving forward, probably will not work. And that's the reason it was important for us to go ahead and create this new identity called Groups in Outlook. With that, let's look at some of the benefits to your users with Groups in Outlook. First and foremost, self-service. Not that DLs didn't have it, but this is more. We have the right tools, right controls, where end users can go create their own groups as they need to. It's faster for them. We all know it's better to go to the ATM to get your money rather than stand in line in a bank. And so effectively, it becomes faster. And because they are in charge of creating their tools, it's less mistake prone. Imagine back in the day, you create a DL, you get another request saying, hey, add these members, update this, et cetera, back and forth. It's more mundane work for IT administrators as well, rather, the time spent somewhere else. More importantly, it is the history and context that users get. How many times do we need to add new members into a project? As a new member, I don't even know what questions to ask, leave alone asking the same questions again. Imagine how beautiful it would be if, as a new member, I go into a room, everything that I need to know is right there, I can easily ramp up. And of course, every single time we have the same questions being answered again and again, it saves all that trouble having context and history. The other thing that we hear time and again from users is, hey, I'm working across time zones. I post something in email today. Somebody else wakes up 7 hours later. How do they understand what it is exactly that's going on? How do we keep everybody on the same page? So with history and context, that's how you can help. Engage flexibly. Fear of reply all. Yes, it's real. How many times have you stopped yourself from replying to a DL? Like, no, I don't think it's all that important. But truth be told, there's somebody out there who might need that information. So it is up to the user to pull that information up to them to say, hey, I need the information, let me go pull it out. Why should it be on the sender to decide when they want to send it, how they want to send it? As a sender, I should just be able to send it. As a user, you get to decide if it's important enough, see it in your inbox. If it's not, that's okay, you can get to it later. So you allow your users to engage flexibly with the group at their own terms. There's no missing out because you have notifications right there. Files, notes, etc. are very key components in projects today. Without this, things just don't work. So you are able to easily share, find the content that you need, and move on. That is just so much more powerful. Last but not least, groups are available everywhere in all the platforms that you need, mobile as well. Today is the day where, at this day and age, it's okay to leave your spouse behind, but not your mobile phone. So, you'll have it always on the go. So what's in it for the IT admins as well? Because we need to think about both sides of the story, right? We often hear, hey, I need to enable new functionality, but I need to keep my company safe. We got that covered. There are lots of other sessions that are dealing with admins, and I'll give you a list later. But that is one of the most powerful things, being able to innovate at the pace that your company needs you to, but adhere to all your company policies. The more practical side of things, I want to manage at scale. There's so many things going on. How do I do this? There is a centralized resource management that will help you manage at scale. Last but not least, activity and audit reports. Almost always you look at it and go, I wish I'd understand where the resources in my company are being used, who's using what. I need to understand that. Now you have a way to get to that. So, enough said. What did we, to recap, teamwork is how work gets done. We went from distribution up to a state of collaboration. We need integrated experiences today, and therefore, we need to move from distribution lists to groups in Outlook. Awesome, my animations worked. All right, let's go to the next topic. How can you upgrade? We have two ways. First one is the Exchange Admin Console and PowerShell. There is just no solution that's complete without PowerShell, so you have that too. Enough talking. Let me jump to a quick demo here, and I will pray that my demo gods are with me today. God. That's an awesome start. Okay, back in business. All right, so this should be familiar territory. This is your Exchange Admin Console. Is my resolution okay? Yeah, all right. So this is your Exchange Admin Console. This is where IT administrators, I'm sure this is familiar to you, would go to create and manage DLs today. I have a DL, a Project Moana. I've created this, all set up. Great. Let me quickly look at what happens from an end user perspective. Your job is done after creating a DL. What's the end user experience? So let's ask Alex, if I can spell right, to send a quick email to our DL here, status report. I'm not going to type, doesn't seem like I'm doing very well with my spellings. So Alex has sent an email. And I'm Megan, I'm part of this DL as well. Typically, what I do is I have a folder called Project Moana, and all the emails coming into this will go into this folder for me. Sounds familiar? All right, now let's go check out what happens when you begin an upgrade. You can start an upgrade either from this toolbar here, icon here, or you can use this big button here. I understand, I know you're going to complain that it's too big. We're working on it. All right. So let's take this Project Moana here. Here in this list, you will see a list of all upgradable DLs in your tenant. You can pick one, you can pick many. please pick all. For the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to pick one and click upgrade. Oh, I had a full talk track prepared. So, just like that, the DL was upgraded. Let's talk about what just happened here. There was a DL object, and what the upgrade did was created an identity in Active Directory for that same object, which is the Office 365 group. We took all the properties of the DL. You would have set sender restrictions, you would have set moderation, you would have set members, your SMTP address, your display name, everything, whatever was there in the DL, we took that and copied it over into the new object that was created, and finally the DL is deleted. That's literally what happened in that fraction of a second. Now let's see if actually it works. Let's go back to Alex here. Alex doesn't know that their administrator has upgraded. Alex will send an email to Project Moana. If you notice, the email address is exactly the same. And sent. Let's look at Megan. Did you see? She received the email right in her folder where it was. Everything about this is exactly the same, if you will. Look at it. The SMTP address remains the same. The people remains the same. Display name remains the same. Nothing has changed about your DL. Come on, guys. Thank you. Thank you for humoring me. One other thing that you can see is it also creates this group space here. And if I can find this, that would be awesome. Let me refresh. All right, voila. So, what just happened there? Everything about the DL remained the same when it was upgraded to a group. Your end users did not know what had happened. They continued to lead their lives like they did. But they also got another advantage. Megan is part of that DL, which was upgraded to a group. Now it's a group. For Megan, you can see there is the groups node available here, and Project Moana appears. All the emails that were sent go directly here. You get a great conversation space. This is how people keep everybody informed. And then you have your files view, calendar, etc., all in the same view of Outlook. If you want to get all your files activity there, I have new activity. Yay. Let's see if there are any files there. If not, we'll move on. All right. So this is how you would keep everybody in context. Make sure, and this looks exactly like how it looks in Outlook. You have your list view. It has all the items there. You have the reading pane, just like that. Another thing that I wanted to show you, if my demo gods will agree, is the ability to drag and drop. So great, you've created your DL, you've moved it to a group. I'm sure you had a lot of stuff in your folder that you want to get back into the group. Let's see. So this is my Project Moana. I have all my emails here. I can pick this email drag and drop it into the group, and just like that, now you can drag all the emails out into your group and populate it. You no longer have to keep holding on to these emails in your own personal folders. Imagine how many people are there in that DL. If everybody starts storing, I'm sure there are a lot of policies that people have put around mailboxes, etc. They just go out of whack. So you don't need to do that anymore. There is a shared space. You can use it. All right. With that, let's get back to the slides. So just to recap quickly, what did we see? There are things that are just like a DL. Your same email address, same name, same everything. And we saw that, right? Even management tools are exactly the same, and I'll show you quickly. In EAC, all the options look exactly the same between DL and a group as well. So you don't have to ramp up others to say, hey, this is how you would create, these are options, etc. We've made a lot of enhancements and made sure that all the functionality that users want in a DL and use it today are available in groups, even naming policy. But there is more. What do you get more out of this upgrade? Because nobody is going to upgrade just because you get the same things over. So what more do you get? Like we spoke about, there's the context and history that comes along with it, great search right from Outlook, and we're going to improve this time and again. Guest access. This is by far the most important thing as we go about and expanding our collaborative world. More and more contingent staff, more and more people outside your firewalls need to start collaborating. This is some new functionality that's been added in the groups. Usage reporting, we spoke a little bit about how you can use the usage reporting activity reports in order to understand what resources are being used in your company. Expiry, soft delete, and restore. I had this gentleman ask me the other day, he said, hey, can I delete and restore a DL? Nope, you can't. Everybody's got oops moments in their lives. Things happen, stuff gets deleted. There is no way to restore DLs. But with soft delete and restore in groups, you can restore all the content of the group back, not just the identity, the members. You can get back all your conversations, files, everything. Life's giving you a second chance. Last but not least, compliance, governance, and audit. Spam control is another big thing. If you send in a spam email, it'll go to your inbox if you're using a DL. With groups, you have spam control, so it is removed directly from going into the group mailbox. All right, so quickly, let's demo. I already have this group created. You've got to trust me that it has been upgraded to a group from a DL. I showed you that. Let's assume. The group that, the DL that had been upgraded, we will call it Mickey's Parade, just because we are in Florida. And as Alex, I'm going to send an email to Mickey's Parade. As you can see, the DL was moderated. When it was upgraded to a group, it is still moderated. Alex is getting that tooltip that says, hey, messages to Mickey's Parade will be moderated. Let us send it anyway. Megan here is the moderator, so she should receive it in her inbox, as she does. As you can see, there is the approve reject button, just like you would see. I approve it. It would go into Mickey's parade, just like that. No different than a DL. Sender restrictions, moderations, all of it work. I promised to show you EAC, and I will. Let's take an Office 365 group that's already there. Let's call this Project Falcon. Take this. As you can see, there is the similarity between ownership, membership. You have delivery management, which is who can send, who cannot send. There is delegation, send as, everything, just like you would in a DL. Next up, we can show you another demo that I wanted to show was creating a group and setting send as on it, which is delegation. So I already have this group called Disney Retail Store. And as Megan, I already have send as permissions on it. You can do that directly from EAC, where you can give Megan permissions to send as, just as you would do in a DL. It's available via EAC as well. So let's see. I have this group, Disney Retail Store, that comes up in my list of groups. I have a customer question here. Shilpa is asking if the Cinderella costume is available. And I'm Megan. You can see that. And now I want to reply back to Shilpa, not as Megan, but as the group itself. Right from here, I enabled from, and then you can see that the Disney Store email address is available for Megan to pick up. Just like that, I change my from address. Yes, sure, come by. And send. You can see that the email was sent from the group itself, not from Megan. So the end user doesn't understand who the original sender was. This is a very common scenario that all of you are familiar with in the support case that people use today. Another great example here, as I said, was the addition of guests. Here, Garth F is added as a guest. They're from another tenant altogether. You can notice that there is a globe icon that clearly indicates that this person is out of your organization. And you know, there is, so you as the sender can figure out what messages need to go in a group that has guests in there. All right, with that, let's jump back to our slides. So, quickly, let's talk about this topic of ineligibility. Not all DLs today are eligible for upgrade. We still have a long list of things that are not, and there is a complete list of documentation at the bottom, as you can see, which contains a list of all ineligible DLs. But let's talk about it a little bit, what we have seen so far. I know we keep getting asked this question. Why isn't nested supported? We need nested support. Using our data, we know that only about 5% of all DLs worldwide are nested. That is true. But that is the scenario today. And typically, all the nested DLs are mostly large members. Imagine the scenario. Our CFO, Amy Hood, sends an email to all employees at Microsoft once every quarter. She's not expecting us all to interact back with her on that email thread. It's going to be chaos. Imagine everybody's just communicating on it. That is by far how today DLs in nested state are being used, where there is an organizational hierarchy, but the need is more to send one directional and not much from a collaboration standpoint. Another aspect was security groups. We've heard this time and again, where, hey, can you upgrade security groups, mail-enabled security groups? Here again, the concept of a security group came into existence to ACL a set of resources, provide access to a set of resources to a set of people. And mail-enabled security groups were, again, a broadcast mechanism to those set of members. For example, we all are in a Redmond building in building 32. We have a DL that is for all the employees who enter that building. That's how we get our badge access. That's how we know it works. Now, if there is a fire drill, it has to be email enabled so that somebody will send an email saying, hey, there is a fire drill, exit the building. I don't expect to be communicating back on that mail-enabled security group back and forth. So that is not the use case that we are seeing with our users. So we're using the data and scenarios from our customers to prioritize, and hence these are still on the list. We're getting to it. Few statistics. We've released excuse me. We've released the upgrade from Exchange Admin Portal around April, and we're seeing great uptake ever since. About 10K tenants have upgraded their DLs. We're seeing a lot of DLs being upgraded, and most of them are using Exchange Admin Console for their upgrades. Wonder what that demo was. Oh, PowerShell. All right. So let's talk about a few other options that we have. What are the other paths that we have to get you to groups? The first one that we have today is the ability for you to take your existing site and add a new group to it. There is a session that details about what the topic is, etc. I have a link there. Please either watch the recording or come and talk to us at the booth. Second aspect is, I know many of you have hybrid configurations. Groups work in a hybrid environment as well. We have detailed documentation on how to set up your environment such that groups appear to your on-premises users as well. I have the link there. There's also a session on Thursday where we'll deep dive into how to set up configurations for hybrid and how to go over groups in a hybrid environment. So please come to that session. Migration from public folders to groups are also available. We had a great theater today, and there's a lot of information available as well. So that's an option for you. Last but not least, site mailboxes. We announced the deprecation of site mailbox. There is a link there that outlines all the details. We no longer support site mailboxes, so please start using groups. All right, with that, let's talk about how to get started. 3 simple ways to get the most out of your upgrade. First and foremost, use the latest Outlook. This is where you will see all our new innovative updates coming through in the newest clients. Not that it won't work if you don't have the latest clients, but in order to leverage the full power of what the capabilities are, should be on the latest client 2016. If you use Outlook Web Access, that's great, you're all set. You don't need to do anything, just go to your browser. Educate yourself and communicate to your users. We have a lot of documentation available. Fast Track is another free service that's available to all of you to use. There is a lot of documentation on Fast Track that has been localized in all languages. So you don't need to do the work. You can just take the content out of there, push it out to your users. As simple as that. Last but not least, begin with cloud managed DLs first. We showed in demos how this works, so please use this. These are a list of all the sessions that we have on groups that are upcoming, some of which have already occurred, but there are a lot of great sessions around admin, especially administration of groups that are ongoing tomorrow and day after. There are also lots of theater sessions that talk about end users' experience for groups in Outlook. Please attend them as well. Last but not least, let's quickly recap what we spoke about today. First, we saw usage patterns are changing, and teamwork is how work gets done today. Next, we saw that we need to keep our users' tools updated. If we don't, there's going to be a lot of trouble. The way we do it is please upgrade your DLs to groups. We have a hands-on lab that's available to us right here. So please go ahead and try it out, give us feedback, and we're always at the booth. So we have a booth, Office 365 groups. Come see us if you have questions around it. There's also, as we said, a lot of information on Fast Track, and we have a community link right there. Please use groups, give us the feedback. We're always listening and trying to improve groups based on your feedback. That's all I had. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, I'll take it now.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey. I've upgraded about half of our groups from on-premise to online and converted them, but I did it through a variety of scripts, PowerShell scripts, that I had to copy all that information to CSVs, re-upload that in a temporary group, delete the old group, convert the existing group. Is that the recommended way, or is there a better way?
That's unfortunately the only way today. Out of the box, we only support cloud-managed DLs being upgraded to groups, but we've seen a lot of customers, and we are telling customers that that's the only way to do it if you're hybrid today, where if it's an on-prem owned DL, then you'll probably have to delete the DL, create the new identity in the online world, and do
so
this.
In the previous years at Ignite, they debuted a program called Hummingbird. Are you familiar with it?
Yes.
I can never get that to work. Is there...
Yes, that is why I did not recommend that to you.
Okay.
Because none of us can.
Okay, yeah, I tried contacting people at Microsoft and never got anywhere.
It's available on GitHub, so we're not updating it at this point. Right. So I wouldn't recommend it.
Is there any instruction from other than just say do it yourself? Like,
no, actually, just contact us. I'll leave you with my email. Talk to me.
I've already done about half of them, but I was just wondering if there was an easier way, because
unfortunately not today.
Yeah, it's just kind of
We're working on it. No, there's no easy out-of-the-box solution. But happy to talk with you offline and you know, help you more throughout the process.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
So I have a comment and a question. When you go from a DL to a O365 group, you can only have one SMTP address. For us, that's problematic. We get a merger and acquisition, we bring them in, we create a DL for them, but we want them to be able to send to that group during the migration period using their old acquisition address. And since you can only have one SMTP address, that prohibits us from being able to go down that route.
Today in groups, you can only have one primary SMTP address.
Right, and you
but
can't
you can have multiple addresses associated with it.
I haven't found a way to be able to put extra aliases on there.
Okay, I can help you with that.
And then
I don't think my demo tenant is set up, but if you can come see us at the booth, I will show that to you. You do have the ability to add SMTP addresses to a group. You can make only one primary. You cannot
Which is
delete the
fine.
others, but there is a way to add more SMTP addresses there.
Okay,
And
and then-
please see us at the booth. I'm happy to help you with that.
And then my question is when you create a group and you go to it through the Outlook client, what you get over there, you can create a team site and do that, which seems very confusing with the new Microsoft Teams space, and we're having difficulty in explaining, when do you just want to do a group, and when do you want to do a team?
Great question. Probably one that's asked multiple times, and I can quickly show this to you as well. Like I said, think about it this way, right? The group is nothing but a membership service. It's just a collection of users, that's about it. And in Outlook, it is just email enabled for that group, right? And team is just a mechanism for chatting with that same community of people. So while this group is available to you in Outlook to use, and yes, it does come with that team site associated with it, now when you add a team to the same group, and we do have the ability to add a team to a group, and I can show that to you quickly here. But let me complete the answer.
I know how to do that.
Yeah, awesome. So when a team is associated with the group, then what happens is it's that same team site that is associated with it. It's not creating yet another team site. Although it is showing you a view of a document library that's different, but it's exactly that same team site. It's not a different one.
And I think for our users, because they're used to seeing the ability to go there from their Outlook client, they're like, well, how come the team's not working like it's supposed to? Because you have to go through it through the team. So it's very confusing for our users.
I
Very
understand.
confusing.
We're actively working on this feedback. Thank you for it.
So, okay.
Hi, sorry.
So, hi. I have two questions.
Yes.
The first one is an easy one. You went to the contacts within the group to know if you have guests or no. Is there any way to get it from the icon of the group directly?
Yes. It shows it in the header itself. It should. Where? Yes. Right here.
Okay, thank you. The second question, we are one of those companies that have thousands and thousands of public folders with mail enabled. So would it be a correct scenario to imagine that those mailing lists sending to public folder mail enabled to have groups and just drag and drop all what we have in this public folder and use the group?
Ideally, yes, and I can, we can talk more details about it. Public folders are pretty complicated. We have a lot of experts in our booth who can help you exactly drilling down to it. I won't be able to go into the details right now, not knowing, what are the nuances there. But ideally, that is the whole point of enabling drag and drop, etc., where you can drag a lot of these elements from your public folder into the groups and start using them. Also, there are scripts available to migrate all the content off there and put it into the group. So that's the whole migration process, and I believe Kapil and other folks at the booth can help you more with that question.
The booth number or name?
Office 365 groups.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in the teamwork
Easy.
section.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Hello there.
sorry. Hi. Hi. Go ahead.
Hi. First off, is the same functionality in the Outlook 2016 client for Mac?
Yes.
Okay. And the second question, the one struggle that we have with groups is, well, actually with distribution list right now, is there a way to reply as from a phone without logging into the browser and doing OWA?
Not yet, but that's a very frequently asked request, and we're working on it.
But that would come to the Outlook app.
That would come to the Outlook mobile app directly. Yes, we won't do it in the group's mobile app, if you will.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Hi.
Hi, so I have a hybrid environment, and I have users that their mailboxes are sitting up in Office 365. I have an Exchange 2013 server, many distribution lists sitting down there. I understand we cannot, upgrade these to, groups, but is there any way we can change or move these up to Office 365 from Exchange? Because the issue with that is, gentlemen talked about deleting distribution groups, creating them up there. So each Outlook application has this N2K file. So basically, when you do that operation, their N2K file is still pointing to an old GUID, and they get an error when they send to that old distribution group that's no longer existing. So,
Yeah.
okay, so you're talking about the GUID.
Yeah, we refer to it as a legacy exchange VM.
Legacy exchange.
Can we take it offline? I mean,
Okay.
in the interest of time, I'm happy to talk to him. Seems like the gentleman there knows more about it.
Hello, good afternoon. I just have a quick question, right?
Sorry.
No problem.
The light is glaring
on
in my eyes.
On your first hands-on demo with Moana, you had the DL, you converted it into a group, you sent the test email, this and that, and on the user screen it showed up, you're receiving this message because you are part of group Moana. If you don't wish to be part of it, you can be removed or something like that. How does it go from the admin perspective? Because before, you could not just leave a DL just like that as a user. How do you explain that?
What is, let me
Just
try and understand.
leaving a group as a user just because
So there are
by
two
choice?
aspects here, I think. There is more, and perhaps the wording is where we are getting confused. But as a user, I can choose to engage with the group. Directly, the messages come to the inbox or can come to the group, right? So as a user, I have a setting to say, hey, update it so I can receive it here or I can receive it there. Yes, as a user, I do want the ability to say, I don't want to be part of getting this information, etc. So that's another capability that you would want to give to the user. Are there reasons where you want to lock the leaving?
Okay, let's say, for example, I have a DL all employees where I do announcements for the whole company. And the user decides just to leave the group and never be notified of anything anymore? Is that their option, that they can do that?
First of all, I wouldn't use a group for our employee. Second of all, like we just spoke, it's just going to be ridiculous chaos if I do. Second of all, like Christoph here was pointing out, we do have dynamic membership where you can add in, they're mostly adding based on some attribute in Active Directory. So as and when things happen, people are automatically added and removed. There are scenarios that we are seeing in schools where, they want to restrict students from leaving. That's a special case. So I was very interested in understanding why you were sort of trying to not allow users to leave groups by themselves. The other aspect was, yes, I left it by mistake, but I also have the ability to discover and join it back if there was an oops moment because of which I left it. So it's kind of not end of the world if I left the group. I could choose to join it back again, and like we have all the history and context in place, I can catch up to where I had dropped off. But is there any other mandates that you're trying to get to here?
Practically what happens is that the DL all employees is a channel where we announce things, and only certain people can post to that DL. Only certain people can send as and nobody can reply to it, so we don't create chaos. So once I convert the group, where do I limit the
Are you
user
really
of
going to
leaving
convert
group?
that to a group? Maybe we can talk
You
offline,
said-
right, in terms of scenarios.
You said to convert all DLs to groups. So
Correct, but all employees would most likely be nested and stuff like that, right? And we won't be able to support that. So that's where I'd like to understand why you would want to get an all employee, which is a nested DL, there, and then, you know, convert it into a group. Am I making sense? Let's take it offline. Maybe I can talk more.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
So really quick, you talked about moving emails from the inbox to the group. Does that remove them? Can you have them in both places?
Yes, so this is a piping hot feature. I just demoed it so I can get my claps. But it's coming soon. It's releasing soon. You saw it work. You have the capability to either copy or move.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
So I'm
Yes,
curious
sir.
about, he asked a question earlier about when you're trying to migrate these out there to the cloud. We have thousands of DLs on premise that people have created over the time. We have more DLs than we have people. But not every one of these is really a good model for a group. And we're in the middle of a hybrid scenario, so we have a ton of users that have been migrated, and now they've lost access to being able to modify membership of that group.
Yes.
So they're stuck.
Of the DL.
Yeah, of the DL.
Yeah.
So we can migrate them, but then we lose visibility because on-premise users really can't do it.
Correct.
Because the group write back is still in preview.
It's
So
not
we're
right
ki-
back. I think your situation is slightly different, where if you take a on-prem owned DL, of course, the DL is still on-prem owned, but if I understood your scenario, your user mailboxes have moved to Exchange, but
Yes.
your DLs are still on-prem owned.
Well, we're only about 30% migrated, and we're running into this problem more.
Correct,
and
where,
more
where the
and more.
owners who have been migrated over into
Yeah.
Office 365 can no longer perform administrative tasks on the
Yeah.
DL.
And they've lost send as because
Yes.
of cross-forest
Yes, totally.
permissions.
Yep.
I mean, it's a mess. It really has not been, from my perspective, you guys haven't really thought out the process of helping people get to the 365. But what can you do for us to help us along this path? It's a mess. You build
Yeah.
a bridge that has big potholes in it.
Totally, I mean, there's nothing much I can say about it than say, yes, it is what it is today. We do hear a lot of complaints about it. We have been working through, it's not an easy problem to solve, as you know. I mean, and there are a lot of nuances associated with it. Everybody's in a different journey. Some companies move quickly, some are in that journey for a very long time. But the only recommendation we have today is move to the cloud, bring your DLs to groups.
So what is your guidance for mail-enabled security groups? You can't migrate them.
Yes.
You can't turn them into groups. If you clone them, you move, now you have two things trying to do the same thing. So what's the guidance from Microsoft on?
While you're moving from a hybrid environment?
Correct.
So mail-enabled security groups, at least right now, like we said, we don't see a path at the moment for it to turn to groups, just because of, from a collaboration needs. I mean, groups we're trying to build for all our collaboration needs. It's not about, hey, I have a parity, I have this object, and I'm just going to make sure that everything in that object works. Perhaps eventually, but not at the moment. So today, unfortunately, I don't have particular guidance for you on how this works.
Isn't there a way with Azure security groups, dynamic security groups, that you can convert it to a group?
There is a concept of a dynamic distribution. There is a concept of a dynamic group.
So we're using those now based on attributes in AD.
Correct, but
and
that's
they're
an
great.
Office 365 group. If you
Yeah.
have a dynamic DL, that's not.
Yeah, the problem we have is we
upgradable.
still have SharePoint Online, and we still have file
Yes.
servers, and we still have things on premise that require ACLs. So we can't just, disparage the the security group aspect of it. So we're trying to figure out, what do we do with these groups? We can't migrate them, and for better or for worse, a lot of these groups are like that. And then the question he asked, send as for groups coming to Outlook Mobile. Is that like months, weeks, years? Is there like a rough time frame on that?
I
Because we
don't
have
have-
send as is a huge used feature for us.
Yeah, I understand that. All I can say is we're working on it. I don't have timelines for you at the moment.
Nothing, not even like months or a year.
No, I think you should refer to the fast track roadmap that we have. We'll post it there and make sure that's the way all our customers get the right information.
So no answer, is what you're saying. Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
When I create a group in Office 365, when I create this as a user and all the stuff I can put in there, like on files, to which storage metric is this discounted? To the one from the user or to the global for the tenant?
It's a bit of both. Effectively, it will add up to the tenant anyway, because you're using the components, resources of the tenant. There is capabilities for the number of groups a user can create, etc. So in that sense, it adds up to your user quota as well. But effectively, if you're talking about quotas at a mailbox level or at a SharePoint level, then it's up on the tenant level. It accrues to that.
Because the user has like 1 terabyte of OneDrive, and then I have some very, let's say, creative users that think, oh, I can get another like
Yes.
unlimited
Yeah.
amount of space. I create a group or I create 10 groups. So this would be possible, and then they put, I don't know, amounts and amounts of data there.
So the storage is SharePoint.
Okay.
Every group gets full SharePoint, and the SharePoint goes to the cloud. So if your user is putting 10 terabytes, by default it's 1 terabyte per site. You get a great problem because you get your users that are using what you purchased instead of using third-party shadow IT. So maybe you need to go back to Christoph and say, hey, Christoph, marketing is using a lot of storage. Maybe I need more money because I'm going to have to purchase additional storage. But at the end of the day, it's SharePoint quota that applies.
Okay.
It's a SharePoint team site with all that applies.
And is there a way to limit?
Absolutely.
Yes.
There's a way to limit to the entire shell. We'll be demoing tomorrow. There's also in the SharePoint admin portal that's being revamped. And today you get a report where you can monitor storage and use at the group level. So you as an admin, you should definitely be on top of that use case where people are going to start to go up your code and potentially
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Hi.
Are all of these post-session questions being recorded for us to review later? Questions and answers?
I don't know if questions are.
I think they stopped at the end of the slide, but if you get questions, somebody who's
Yeah. That link that I posted at the end of the slide should have the community link. So please reach out there and, like you were saying, contact us at the booth and we'll set you up with some answers.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Thank you so much.